In our next unit of study, we'll be looking at how to calculate the volume of three-dimensional figures like the ones shown here. In order to do that, we need to know how to find the area of each individual base of the figure. So in this video, we'll review how to find area of shapes. First, let's review how to find the area of squares and rectangles. In both, you can use length times width. But remember, for a square, the sides are all the same. So area of a square can be written as side times side, or if you want to be fancy, that would be side squared. So if we look at the example below, we have a square that a side is 6 feet for. A square, you don't need to label every side because it's automatically assumed that this would be 6 feet, this would be 6 feet, and this would be 6 feet. So the area of that square comes from 6 times 6, or 6 squared, and either way you get 36 feet squared. For a rectangle, you do the length times the width. So here I would do 12 times 4 and get 48 centimeters squared. Now a triangle is exactly half of what a rectangle would be. So to find the area, you're going to take the base times the height, but divide it all by 2. So you might have a lot of sides labeled, but the only ones you need to find the area are the base and the height. So in our first triangle, my base would be 8 meters, and the height here would be 6 meters. So to find the area, I would be doing 8 times 6 and dividing that by 2. So 8 times 6 gives me 48, divided by 2 tells me that area would be 24 square meters. And I actually don't need the 10. Doesn't help me for area. Next up, same thing, I have a lot of sides labeled. The base here would be 6 inches, the height would be 5, and I'm actually not needing those to find the area. Instead, I would just be focused on the 6 times 5 and dividing that all by 2. So 6 times 5 gives me 30, divided by 2 tells me the area here would be 15 square inches. The other shape we'll need this year is a hexagon. So let's look at how triangles can help us find the area of a hexagon. If I look at the hexagon shown below, I can actually break that up into many different triangles. So if I start drawing diagonal lines going across the hexagon, you can see that I start to make some triangles. And I would have a total of 6 different triangles from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So here I have 6 different triangles that make up my one hexagon. So let's focus on one of the triangles. Let's focus on this one down here that I have parts labeled for. I know that one triangle would come from base times height divided by 2. So one of those triangles would be base times height divided by 2. You'll notice I'm using the letter A. A stands for the word apothem. And it's not the height because the height of the hexagon would go all the way up to the top. So in a way, an apothem's almost like a radius for a hexagon. But here it would be the height of one individual triangle. So that would be for one triangle here. Base times apothem divided by 2. But I said that I have 6 of them. So 6 times what one triangle would be would give me the whole hexagon. Now, you might notice that I could do something with these two. 6 divided by 2 would give me 3. So if I take 3 times the base times the apothem, that would give me one hexagon. So that's what I'm gonna write for the formula of area of a hexagon. The area would come from 3 times the base times the apothem. If you have a hard time remembering that, you could always use this here by finding what one triangle is and multiplying it by 6. So let's look at some examples using this formula. If I see this hexagon here, my base is 4 feet and my apothem would be 3.7 feet. So if I use the formula 3 times the base times the apothem, I'd be doing 3 times 4 times 3.7. So my area of this hexagon would be 44.4 square feet. In this next example, a slightly bigger hexagon, I might zoom out for a second. I have a base of 8 feet and an apothem of 13 feet. So 3 times 8 times 13 would give me an area of, 3 times 8 times 13 would give me an area of 312 feet squared. So let's review the area of the shapes that you'll be practicing today. The area of a square comes from side times side, or side squared. The area of a rectangle comes from length times width. And remember, you can use length times width for a square as well. Area of a triangle comes from base times height divided by 2. If you prefer, you can write it this way as well. And then finally, a hexagon comes from 3 times the base times the apothem. Good luck!